Something not well. Sanji spoke up with the old man with the wooden leg. Hey, listen, pal. I'm the sous chef in this place. What do you mean you don't need me no more? The old man with the wooden leg spoke up. You fight with customers all the time, and you flirt with any woman that's under 80 that walks through the door. You can't even cook a decent meal. Worthless to me more than the chow after the brunch. Sanji muttered out, The old man spoke up again. Let's talk about how the other cook avoid you like you're poison. So just run off and be a pirate or whatever. But get out of this restaurant, the blonde man said in a growl. That's how it is? Shoot out the mouth and you're expecting I'll just take it, old man? I can blow off everything you said, but I can't let you trash my cooking. I'm staying here as a sous chef. That's final, he said while picking up the old man by his collar of his shirt. Sanji said, You hear me? The old man said, What do you think you're doing? By grabbing your boss by the collar. As he says that, Sanji loses his grip on his collar. The old man threw him across the room, shouting to him, You hear me? The old man said. But unfortunately, he crashed into our table. Luckily, we managed to save our food, Sanji said while sliding down the broken table. Old geezer. Sanji got up and composed himself. Enough with the games. You can try to kick me out, but I'm here to stay. I'm not going anywhere, old man. Not until you're dead and gone, Sanji said. The old man started walking back, and he replied back to Sanji's comment. Dead, huh? I got another 100 years of kicking your ass then. Sanji muttered under his breath. Always has to have the last word. Luffy approached Sanji's behind and patted his shoulder and said, See, he said it was cool. You can become a pirate. Sanji shouted back at him. Shut up! Sanji got up and started putting back the table up. Sanji said, My apologies. Then he approached me and Nami and placed down 2 fruit cups that looked awfully too fancy, even for me. And he started pouring a certain liquid into our glasses. Didn't know what, but probably alcohol. Sanji said to me and Nami, I hope I can make it up to you two with this fruit Macedonia, princesses. Nami replied before me, Wow, you're so kind. It looks wonderful. I spoke after her. It does look lovely. I don't remember the last time I had something sweet. Well then that's good for both of you. Usa noticed that me and Nami were getting free food and yelled back in protest. Hey, what about us, Mr. Casanova? We better get some kind of apology too. As he says that, Sanji approached Usa and gave him a warm cup of tea. Sanji said, This tea should be more than adequate for you. In fact, you should be thanking me. Usa shouted, What? You wanna fight? You're gonna regret this. As he says that, he turned his head to Zoro and told him, Take him out, Zoro. Zoro said in reply, You take him out. Nami joined into the argument. Stop it! Don't fight because of us. I can see that Nami was just acting on that. As she said that, Sanji turned back with heart-shaped eyes and said, Of course, my dears. Usa shouted at Nami. Who said it was about you two? Well, I wanted to tell you, presumably she was still talking to Sanji, that the food here is just delicious, but it's just a little too expensive. Relax, it's free for you two. As he says that, Nami wrapped her arms around his neck, presumably to give him a hug. And she said, Oh, thank you. And Sanji looked back at the guys and said, You two have to pay though. As he says that, Usa growled in anger. Zoro, on the other hand, said, How very generous of you. You didn't realize, but you didn't notice, but Luffy was sitting at our table drinking the tea. In the middle of his laughing, Sanji kicked him in the head, making his head fly back, along with his neck. And he said to Luffy, What are you sitting around for? And then he grabbed him and started dragging him back to the kitchen, presumably. Me, Nami, Usa, and Zoro watched as he was being dragged. Time skip. Usa groaned and shouted, We've been sitting around and twiddling our thumbs for 4 days now. How long do you think we're gonna be here anyways? He says to Zoro, that was sitting on the floor. Zoro replied with, Who knows? He said he'll stay a year, Usa said. But I'm already so bored. Nami was looking over the dock, presumably probably at a paper. Don't know what, but don't care. She said to Usa's complaining, Quit whining. This place is great. Plus, All the food here is free, Zoro said to her comment. Yeah, for you and listener. Usopp noticed Luffy carrying out a big bag of trash and shouted out from our ship. Hey Luffy, what are we still doing here? Come on, let's get out of this place. Luffy replied with, just hang on a little longer. I'm gonna try to make another deal with the owner, Luffy said. Sanji replied with, well, hurry up. All of a sudden you heard ruckuses inside. You saw everybody looking through the window, presumably into the distance where the clouds are. You looked where they were looking and you noticed a flag with hourglasses on them. You've seen them before, or at least you've heard of them. What was it again? You thought for a minute, and then you finally came to your senses and realized who it was. It was Don Krieg. What a bummer. You've heard stories of him, but to you he sounded like a bitch baby. It sucks for life. So you decided to turn the other cheek to it. Sanji shouted out, guys, I don't mean to sound crude or anything, but I think this is our cue to leave right now. Nami shouted out as well. Look at the sheer size on that galleon. Me and Zoro were the only ones that were calm in this situation. All of you remained calm and stayed on the ship. Time skip. The clouds already moved and Don Krieg was in the ship already. And it's been a while. Then, all of a sudden, everybody started running out. Usopp noticed as well. You see that? It looks bad. What the heck is going on in there? Zoro replied with, don't know. Let's go inside and see. What? That's how Usopp responded to Zoro's question. Usopp continued, are you serious? Zoro replied with, yeah, I'm serious. You sound scared. Usopp said and replied, I am not scared. Well, I'm down to check it out, I said and replied. Zoro smiled but looked back at Don Krieg's ship that was still completely in a wreck, and said, the ship looks almost abandoned. Alright, come on, I said a couple minutes later. Me, Usopp, and Zoro ran in. We ran down the stairs and were halfway down. We were standing on the stairs, and Zoro said, what's wrong, Luffy? Need a hand? Usopp said with shaky legs, presumably from being scared, but trying to put on a brave face. If you don't need help, that's okay too. Then you spoke up. It seems like you have a rat in your hair. You said that, presumably resembling Don Krieg as the rat. Luffy looked back at us. Oh, hey guys, I appreciate the offer, but I think I can handle this clown, Usopp said. Too bad. But if you say you don't need any help, then who am I to argue? Me and Zoro gave him a side-eye glare. Presumably, we were both annoyed. Us some fighters have to sit this one out, huh? Usopp kept on blabbering on. Me and Zoro shouldered him, and he fell backwards onto his back. Usopp looked up and said, what'd you do that for? Me and Zoro said in unison, Shut up already, you weirdo. You didn't realize it, but Don Krieg was there in his armor that you presumably heard of, and he started laughing hysterically. Don Krieg said, are those three your crew? That's a pretty small group you have there, kid. Luffy said to Don Krieg, that's not all, I have two more. Sanji said from the sidelines, I'm not a part of your crew. As he said that, Don Krieg stopped smiling and put his weapons away that came from his armored shoulders. Don Krieg said, I will deal with you later. Right now I'm gonna go feed my men. As he said that, he tossed a bag around his shoulder, presumably holding the food. Those who wish not to die could leave right now and don't have to see that fate. The only things I'm after is the logboat and the ship, Don Krieg said. Don Krieg went over to feed his men. Don Krieg stopped in his haste and said, but if you wish to stay, I have no problem of burying every last one of you at the sea. Know that. Then he continued walking away. Then you looked around you and noticed everybody was injured. Well, none of the customers because they all ran away. All the chefs were injured, including that one man that was there a couple of days ago. The one that escaped from the marine ship. Luffy told me the whole story of how Sanji fed him. The man said, I'm so sorry, Sanji. I never thought that it would be this way. The old man spoke up. You have nothing to apologize, sailor. Every cook here did what they thought was right. That's all there is to say about that. The other chefs argued back. You've lost interest again. And you started walking back upstairs. Zoro asked, "Where are you going?" "I'm just gonna explore. It's gonna take a while." "Well, alright," he said and replied. You walked upstairs where the kitchen was. You decided you wanted to explore around some more. You noticed knives, plates, and all sorts of dishes, and then you stopped and you looked at the knives. They were similar to your weapons that you use when you assassinate someone, but your weapons aren't kitchenware. Might as well tell you this. I know this seems out of the blue, but let me tell you my past. My real past. I grew up somewhere in the Grand Line. Sounds weird, huh? The island you grew up on was called Hell's Home. Anything can happen on the Grand Line. Right? The island was called that because everywhere you go, it seems like there was a demon there. Or there is. And the odd thing is, the sky was red. Flashback. No. I'm not gonna die. I'm not gonna die. It looks like I shaked it. Let me just sit down for a moment. That was your life. Always being chased by demons. The reason why is because your parents thought if they sacrifice you, the demons will leave them alone. But you always came back to them. Regardless, over and over and over. When night falls and the demons are at their highest, they always throw you out, trying to sacrifice you. You have no idea, you were really young at the time, and you had nobody to go to. And then the demon found you. The funny thing about demons can see the innocence or the negative innocence in the human soul. To see which one's better. You have no idea what the demon did, but he did something bad. He didn't attack you, but he left a symbol on my back. The symbol looks like this. You have no idea what it meant. You've looked through books, countless, but you haven't found the right one to symbolize what it meant. The demon left the mark on your back and left you there. You stumbled back to the whole village. The worst thing is, you didn't make it at your home at time. It was already daytime, where everyone was out. Every villager noticed you, and they noticed the symbol on your back. They all started shouting at you to get away from them. You were only 8. Everyone was throwing rocks at you, calling you names, all that. And then you blacked out. Then when you woke again, the whole village became a bloodbath. No one was left unspared. The red sky darkened, presumably reflecting off the blood all over the streets. At the beginning, you felt nothing, and then you felt release. You felt that once you saw your parents dead. Many months later, you became a stowaway on a marine ship. You went up Reverse Falls, or whatever it was called again, and then you ended up there, in the East Blue. You're pretty sure you were in the East Blue. And you became a street rat, stealing and scavenging for anything. One day you picked up a book all about assassins. And a flashback. You were finally snapped back into the present. You looked at the clock and realized it passed so much time. How long were you standing here looking at the knives? You went downstairs and you noticed everybody is having a feast? You never realized how long you were thinking about your past until you noticed Luffy calling out to you. "Hey, listener! Where have you been?" "Oh, there you are." "Oh, Luffy, I'll be right there." You joined Luffy and Sanji on the floor. Luffy filled you on everything and what has happened, while Sanji was swooning over you. The one big man that you've seen before at the tables was slurping on some soup. And then all of a sudden, he spoke up. "Hey, what is this? Who prepared the soup this morning?" Sanji said with great pride. "Oh, I did. The stuff is pretty good, huh? I think I really outdid myself." "That a joke? Barely hold the slop down." I looked back at Sanji's face and he was completely pissed. All of a sudden, they were arguing. You knew right there and then. This hell of a ride's not gonna be just over yet.